Today I'm going to be talking about how I am 29 and unemployed. This is a personal subject, but I had mentioned it in my first video, how I'm 29 and I've been unemployed since August, late August. So I'm approaching about 7 months now, and it was about the time that I started my business, my clothing merch. You guys can see right here, this is one of the shirts, Supreme Messiah. He ascended up on high. This is embroidery. I did this with the machine through the grace of God. So if you guys want to check out the link in the bio and support the channel, much appreciated. So there was this one supervisor that, first of all, I'm pretty sure everybody could relate here that most of us don't like our supervisors, right? But in my case, I was a self-contractor making tiles. Doing tiles for like bathrooms and floors, like expensive tiles, luxurious type of tiles. So I would get paid based on how much tiles I did in one day. So that means that I can go there for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I can choose my hours, leave at the time that I wanted. But obviously it came at a price. Sometimes they would pay late. It would take them up to 3 weeks, sometimes even a month for them to pay for everything to hit your bank. But I was like, hey, I can come here at whatever time I want, whatever day I want. I could literally miss 2 days out the week and still keep my job. I know it's hard to believe, but this was my situation through the grace of God. I used to work at UPS before that. So there was this Colombian dude in there who was just an employee like me, but he worked for the plant. He worked for the company. He could claim the company. And he's reconstructed. Not mentally ill or anything. He's just reconstructed because he was in the army in Colombia. This was a fact because this lady that used to work there with me, she knew him from church and she confirmed it. She said that he was in the news, and even she didn't really like him, but not because she didn't like him, but because he was not all the way there. He's reconstructed. A bomb exploded in his face. So he's kind of a very intense person. He would say that himself. He's like, I'm just intense. Even with girls, I'm intense. Ha ha ha, he. This was what he would say. So I remember me thinking to myself, I knew that this guy wanted to be a supervisor. He wanted to grow in the company. He just has this power tripping mentality. He just has this, I want to be somebody mentality. I get it. Every man should strive to want to be somebody, right? I don't knock him. But I just said to myself, if this guy becomes my supervisor, I'm going to quit. I'm not going to work for this guy. I already been through too much. I had told myself, I'm done going through this with supervisors, always power tripping. And it's I'm not going to go through that like I did at UPS. So I had worked there for 2 years. I said, through the grace of God, he gave me employment for 2 years after I quit UPS because I took a leap of faith. I was done with UPS. Same thing was happening there. I was going at it with this supervisor. I worked there for 4 years because I was a felon, right? I had gotten arrested, like I said. I keep uploading these photos because I'm still new to this YouTube. In English, I have a YouTube channel in Spanish, which I have talked about these subjects, but it's I gotta talk about this all over again here, and I don't mind, because at the end of the day, this is what I like to talk about in real life too. I'm not just talking about this on YouTube and then off camera I'm a completely different person. This is who I am. So after I had found out that he was a supervisor, I quit. I was I didn't announce, because I work at a place where you don't have to announce. You just stop showing up, right? Because I'm tired of dealing with supervisors who power trip. And I know a lot of people can relate. If they treated Jesus, if they spat on him, if they didn't believe him, what makes you think they're going to treat you right too, right? Sometimes it's hey, if they didn't treat Jesus right, they killed him. He was a chosen one. What makes you think that they're going to treat you right? What makes me think? I already know when I go into a job, I have the mentality that, hey, don't be surprised if a supervisor starts picking on you, because maybe he might be jealous of you. Maybe he might think you're going to take his position. Maybe he thinks you're too liked, because we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against demon and dark places, right? The demons might get irritated that you might be gaining popularity at a certain job, that everybody likes you, that, nowadays we cannot be surprised if people start hating on you, right? I'm not saying that, hey, ooh, you think you're all that, right? Who do you think you are? No, but I do believe that this has been a problem with me, because when you start following Jesus, you will be noticed. They will know, because the demons will recognize the Holy Spirit in you, right? If you're reading the word every day. At UPS, I wasn't reading the word every day, so I was really going through some intense warfare, right? But it was mostly through prayer in vain. But God knew that I was going to get on the right course through the grace of God, because I wasn't reading the Bible. I was still reading astrology here and there. So it was really getting to me. It was getting to me mentally. Like, I would get off of work and I would be thinking about work. Like, it would still be like, I'm thinking about this guy. It's like, man, tomorrow, what is he going to do? Blah, 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 and I'm not the type of person to quit. I'm not the type of person to quit. Like, I go to war. Like, if I'm at a job and I've been there for a couple years, 1 or 2 years, especially 3, whatever, and I know that this supervisor is new and I've been there longer than him, I'm not just going to quit, right? Like, if I'm there first day, first of all, like, I don't think they pick on you right away. They pick on you when they think you're going to be there for the rest of your life. When they think that, okay, this guy doesn't seem to have plans, right? This is the demons in them, right? They're like, okay, we can start treating him like garbage. We can start treating him like a nobody, because they're smart. They're smart. They know that they can't treat you like dirt right off the get-go, right off the bat, because, like, okay, he's new, we're going to scare him away. We got to groom him. We got to deceive him. But I think you guys know what I mean, right? Because they want to trap you. I've always had this mentality that, hey, I'm not going to be at this job for too long, because I already know how I am treated. I already know, hey, I am Mexican. I am Mexican American. I will never really be accepted here in the States. I will never really be accepted in Mexico, because over there, I'm not a true Mexican. And down here, I'm not a true American, right? But this is what one of my advantages is, that now that I know this, it's like, okay, I have to work for myself. Not everybody has this life path, but this is my path, right? This is my path. Like I said, you guys want to support right here, embroidery. This is what I love to do, right? I'm into fashion. I've always been into fashion since I was little. But back to me being unemployed, something I've learned is that do not become a felon, because once you become a felon, it's hard for you to get a job, right? And I was in the first offenders program. So luckily for me, through the grace of God, I cleaned my record. So if I want to, I can work anywhere that I want, right? One of the drawbacks of actually having a mediocre job that pays decent is that you might get comfortable. You might get comfortable there till boom, the enemy strikes. The supervisor changes. Now you're dealing with another supervisor. Now you want to quit your job, but you've been comfortable there for 4 or 5 years. All of a sudden there's a switch, there's a change, and now you want to quit. And then you start saying to yourself, damn, I should have been working on my dreams. I should have been working on my dreams. I should have been working on my goals. But I got too comfortable because they were treating me nice. it could go both ways, right, guys? Like, if they treat you nice, it could still be bad. Like, we cannot get comfortable, especially if you're working a mediocre job like I have been, like at UPS, or like doing these tiles where they paid you whenever they felt like it. Like, they didn't treat you with respect. But it was, at the end of the day, I'm not complaining, because at the end of the day, we have to assume responsibility for our choices. I do believe that everything that happens to us is for a reason. And if something bad happens to you, is because we deserved it, right? At that particular time. You're at that particular time for a reason. You are where you're supposed to be. I am where I am supposed to be. I did apply for like 2-3 jobs around like February, but they never got back to me. I did apply for a job recently, but then I was getting texts about these other jobs that I didn't apply for. So it was through this app, right? ZipRecruiter and whatnot. But like I said, if a job comes my way that I like, this new generation doesn't want to work like my parents' generation. They see these TikTokers, they see these YouTubers, they see all these people, right? Even if they're fake stunning, even if they're deceiving people with these like, oh, look at me, I'm making a lot of sales or whatever. Like, we all just have to be conscious of our choices, and thank God every day that we're still breathing. Thank God that I'm even making this video, and this is where I'm gonna say goodbye, guys.